You're tuned into On the Road with Studio A, powered by Adderant. It starts with the A.
All right. Well, welcome to Momentum Talks at Studio A. I'm Andy Hoyt, hosting today with the team from Michael Best. So we've got our chief AI officer, we'll just call it that, because there's other stuff in there.
You got it.
And our chief innovation and technology officer, Jason, here with us as well.
Yes.
All right. So why don't we just kick it off by talking about what you all do with AI and technology at Michael Best.
So we kind of are looking at it through the lens of, where are the most pressing problems for us to solve? Where do we get the most business valued outcomes? And so we started early last year in identifying a couple pilot programs with existing technology vendors, but also a few use cases that were outside of their current ecosystem. And I think we kicked off pilots, Q3 of last year. And some of those pilot programs are now maturing, and we're kind of, ramping up the maturity scale as it relates to exposing some of those capabilities to new users. We're a big Microsoft shop, so it made a ton of sense for us to give Copilot a good look, just because it's baked into so many of our Microsoft suite. And so we've seen some really cool outcomes and some good successes from that application. In addition to some of the work that we've been doing around e-discovery, some of the work that we're doing around our litigation practice. What other ones that you want to identify?
Yeah, I mean, well, we also invested in our own instance, private instance of ChatGPT, so that we could allow sort of a safer place. I wouldn't say it's, there's no such thing as 100% safe, but safer place for all of our staff and attorneys to practice using ChatGPT. So that was kind of a no-brainer opportunity for us as well. And like Jason said, we've got, your general use type of artificial intelligence available, like a Copilot and our ChatGPT instance, but then also these niche, very specific to a particular task or set of skills within, specific areas of law that we're able to tackle. I think we have, if we don't have an application live now in every area of law, we're definitely close, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would agree. Absolutely. And some of this, too, is just the result of already having strong technology partners and being a part of their journey as it relates to the innovation and the AI capabilities that they're releasing through current instances of their software.
So what would you say around the adoption of AI with everybody in the firm? Is everyone using it? Is it like half the team there? What are your thoughts there?
Well, we can only measure that use of AI that we do control, right? Or that we do have our purview on. I think it kind of depends on the situation. I think like we just pulled the numbers for those that do have a Copilot subscription. We're at like 74% or something like that adoption. We're in the 70s or 80s on that. Now, we don't have every single person, not every person has a subscription, but what it's allowing us to do is through the pilot, I think we have 79 people on it. And so it's helping us to just, again, proportionately understand that if you were to go 100%, or if you were to go to all team members, what might we expect in terms of adoption? But then we have some other areas where, like on our internal ChatGPT instance, there's still time for people to get comfortable with it. It's not trained on, like we talked about in the morning session, it's not trained on a legal large language model legal database. It is ChatGPT. And so we have to respect that Jason and I don't measure that by 100% adoption, because there are just going to be use cases that it's not suited for. This goes back to this isn't about just driving the use of tools just because they're there, but making sure that we're driving it for its intended purpose. So I think that's another part of what we're learning as we're going is what is the corpus of our measurement. It's not necessarily everybody. It's not 100% adoption of all people. It might be 100% of only those that it's targeted for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And one of the things, Jason, I don't think we got into it a whole lot this morning, but you've talked about it in the past about, well, you don't build a culture around it, you have a culture. I loved your thoughts and insights into that. Why don't you share a little bit more about all of that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we have an established culture, but there's also some fluidity to the culture because it continues to evolve with just the nature of the business and where we are in, in history. But there's a lot of good attributes that you want to leverage, and then there's new ingredients that we're trying to introduce. I think overall the culture of Michael Best is very forward-thinking, very innovative. I definitely think, from my perspective, culture is really a result of an organization or group of people living shared values. And I think Michael Best does a great job of doing that. And some of the core values that I like to think about and reference frequently are our shared value of innovation, are our shared value of collaboration, are our shared value of pursuing excellence. And I think that's really coming through certainly where we are in this time in history as it relates to just the amount of innovation that's occurring. Like, we're not just talking about it, we're living it. To Sarah's point, and we talk about adoption, depends on the problem that we're solving and how much adoption we need to solve that problem. But I would say we're probably pushing, 100% as it relates to like creativity and curiosity. And so we definitely have an environment where people are asking the right questions, are thinking about this stuff, are leaning into it. Even some of the exchanges that are happening in some of these on some of these tools, it's kind of fun to kind of see it happen and see it play out and see the experimentation play out. But not everyone's the same, and we're trying to support the practitioner that maybe has a 3 to 5 year runway, and also welcome the associate fresh out of law school that is looking to change the world. And so you kind of have to balance your programs and your strategic initiatives to serve that greater community and that culture.
Yeah, I love it. The technology is awesome because I write a lot of poems now, leveraging all the Copilot stuff.
Yeah.
It's
so does our general counsel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's perfect.
Big fan of poem writing.
Yeah. My team, I think, are getting really annoyed with all of my poems that I'm writing.
And the songs and like the imagery you can produce.
But we were just with
fantastic.
an attorney. I know that was probably the story that's coming to mind for you as well, where not even Jason nor I knew for sure what Copilot was going to do in that instance that we were working with him on. And so, I don't know, I think we spent, almost 25 minutes probably just like experimenting and testing and wait, word it this way, word it that way. Can we get it to do what we wanted it to do? And somewhat we were torturing the artificial intelligence to try to do something that we needed it to do. And then we figured out that it has limitations in its skills. It wasn't intended, at least not right now, for that specific use. So you could keep trying to, going back to my analogy from this morning, you can keep trying to hack at this thing with a chainsaw. But if that's not its intended purpose, if that's not what you're doing, like, you're just going to get frustrated. So it's no different than asking a human to do something that they're just not equipped for. So we just have to make sure that through this experimentation, I think what it also helps is for those that, again, expect perfection in their technology, it's helping them to understand that there's still room here. There's still learning.
Well, and experimentation isn't trying one prompt for one specific, use case and then saying, oh, it didn't, deliver the result
And
I was expecting.
abandon.
This doesn't work. It's like, well, maybe not today. Maybe it doesn't work today,
Pull
but
back.
it certainly,
It will.
it
It'll
will at some
eventually
point.
at
Like,
some
it's
point.
happening so quickly.
Like go back again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Try again.
Keep trying.
There needs to be some
around it.
resilience. I
Yeah.
think some resilience in your approach. For
Yeah,
sure.
that's definitely, and that's what I've talked to my entire team about quite often was they've come in and said, well, this doesn't work for that. I said, well, ask it a different question.
Yes.
Try it a different way. Did it help you create an idea that you
Yes,
didn't have
yes,
before?
yes.
So maybe didn't he actually give you the answer,
Yes.
but it created that thought of actually how to solve problems. And I think, like, for me, that is one of my most favorite things about this technology is not necessarily solving the problem for you, but getting you creative in actually then solving it yourself.
Yeah, and like I think of two personas that come to mind in my life. A master crafts person of some trade, somebody that you just they know exactly which tool to use, and or they've invented a use for a tool, right? Think of those tradespeople that we know in our lives that are like that. And then I'm also thinking of students that are just coming out of high school and that maybe even going into trade school today. And we have people in our lives that are going to be electricians, are going to be mechanics, and we know even they will be working alongside artificial intelligence along the way, though there will still need to be humans that are actually driving some of the final decision making or what have you in that particular trade. But what's interesting is that you eventually find people who go, I could use it this way, and I could purpose this tool to do it precisely this, and then I may have to go grab another tool and then another tool to finish this job. And one thing that we didn't get a chance to touch on, which I think is very important culturally, as Jason was saying this morning, is I do think that this is a broad brush, but I do think that we are also often here, I just want one software to do all, one place to log in or one application to do everything. And that's not the reality. So getting comfortable with different, UIs, with different screens, with different look and feel, with a different login screen, mouse clicking.
Yeah, but that's like, we talk about it often, which is you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to leave your comfort zone, like you're not really willing to grow. And so people have to step outside of that. And to your point, Andy, think about their approach. Think creatively, color outside the lines, think outside the box. And we totally appreciate that there's, fear, here with adopting this technology, and we've been trying to change our messaging as a result. Like Sarah and I were talking last week about this article we had read by HBR, and the author talked about, changing out artificial for amplified. So if we talked about how we amplify your intelligence versus replacing you or it, like maybe there would be less resistance, more adoption, and with the understanding that there's certainly going to be some level of disruption, but, let's embrace it and figure out, what's on the other side of this, which is going to be new and exciting versus what are we giving up and what are we losing. And I read a stat a few weeks back that said about 60% of the jobs that Americans do today did not exist in 1950. So, what's on the other side of this innovation, and it's happening so quickly. I think it's going to be very interesting to see all the new opportunities that are created as a result of embracing it.
Yeah, I love it, and I think we're just about out of time, and so, but I love the way you just really ended it. It's really about amplifying everything that we can do, and that's fantastic. Well, you all are doing some great stuff with Michael Best, and I wish all our clients and my team would have that same approach as you all, but because you guys are amazing, and really appreciate you being here at Momentum, talking on stage
Thanks
today,
for having us.
and doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
We had a blast. Big fans of the A-Team, and look forward to the next time we collide and have this conversation.
Yeah, can't wait for it.
All right,
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
You're tuned into On the Road with Studio A, powered by Adderant. It starts with the A.